Ah, ça va, comment va te voir?
Salut Victor, tu vas bien? Ça va? Ok, tout va bien? Pleine forme?
Écoute, pleine forme. C'est comme d'avant, c'est plus dur. Je viens de finir la muscu, là, ça fatigue plus que le match.
J'ai vu que t'es parti à la fin du 4e carton. Il fait déjà un vet move déjà, il vient d'arriver, il vient faire la muscu et les soins.
Non.
Parce que moi je faisais souvent ça, me casser au 4e.
Saison régulière?
Ah, non, pas en saison régulière, non, pre-season. Non, en saison régulière, je restais pour soutenir les gars. Ouais. Parce que justement, il me demandait, Pierre, mais normalement, on ne devrait pas rester. C'était les coéquipiers. J'ai dit, non, mais là, c'est précédent. J'ai dit, ça va.
Et là, du coup, vous enchaînez direct muscu après le...
Ouais, pas tous, je pense. Mais même en saison régulière, il faudra. Bien sûr, parce qu'en fait, il y a tellement de matchs que.
Ouais.
En dehors des matchs, on n'a pas forcément le temps
de s'entraîner.
à fond.
Par contre, le petit pont, il a fait plaisir. On a vu ça, j'étais choqué. Ouais, t'es juste devant nous. Ah non, franchement, il était oufissime.
On a le droit de faire des petits ponts? J'ai fait oui. C'est pas souvent dans le basket.
C'est comme le foot, genre en mode là, c'est chaud là ce qui
J'essaie d'innover. J'y pense depuis quelques semaines.
Ah ouais?
Ouais,
si tu sens que ça passe. En plus, il a appelé. Le gars, il a appelé.
Il a dit, vas-y, fais-le. Vas-y. Mais après, ça, c'est des trucs que tu fais quand même à l'instinct, même si tu peux l'entraîner de ça, ça vient naturellement. Parce que quand tu arrives comme ça, c'est split second dans ta tête et tu le fais et t'enchaînes après. T'es déjà allé voir un F1? Un Grand Prix?
Ah, t'as jamais fait?
Je pourrais pas venir.
Non, je sais. J'ai regardé le schedule. Il faudra qu'on l'organise une fois.
Ah, franchement, avec plaisir. Avec plaisir.
Sinon, ils viennent tous les ans, ils viennent. Non, je dis tous les ans à Austin, il y a le Grand Prix.
On essaye de faire à chaque fois.
Après, Pierre, il est déjà venu plusieurs fois.
À chaque fois, avec toi, tu nous as emmenés.
Il est venu plusieurs fois, Pierre.
Mais avec plaisir, franchement, quand tu veux venir.
En plus, avec Pierre, il te met bien. Parce que tu vois tout en mode VIP et tout, c'est vraiment bien.
Le quartier la dernière fois.
Ah ouais?
Ah, c'est vrai?
Et comment tu fais pour rentrer dans le...
Écoute, c'est passé.
Mais je te crois pas.
Première fois? Non, mais si j'en avais pas fait depuis 10 ans, peut-être.
Ah ouais, d'accord.
Ouais, donc ça va, tu kiffes tout ce qui est pilotage.
Tout ce qui demande du skills.
Ouais. Gotta get to recovery, Vic.
Ok.
Let's go.
Bon, en tout cas, un plaisir. Yeah, sure.
Bon, là c'était Mario Kart, hein. Ça n'a rien à voir avec la F1, c'est pas du tout la même chose. Ça c'était quand j'étais jeune, on est encore chez moi, on est dans la salle d'arcade, pour tous ceux qui me connaissent très bien, a.k.a. Peter Pan, ils savent. Bon, là on va parler de F1, on va accueillir Pierre GASLY. C'est longtemps que il y a quelques nouveautés en plus, sorteur d'argent maintenant.
Là, dans le...
Plus à gauche,
Plus à gauche, là.
Salut Pierre, ça me fait plaisir
Salut.
de t'avoir. Ça faisait longtemps que j'avais envie de faire une interview avec toi. Mais tu sais quoi, comme on est à San Antonio, on va la faire en anglais.
Parfait.
Parce qu'en plus, c'est le Grand Prix des États-Unis. So, my first question.
Straight into it.
Straight into it. The first time I met you, I didn't even know you were in the arena. Can you tell me the story when you came to San Antonio and you didn't even tell me?
Yeah.
You didn't even tell me.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, but like, you know, you're a big guy. And at that time, I mean, you're like an icon for all of us in France. And yeah, I came here for the Grand Prix and I've been, you know, like when, as a French kid, you're coming, well, kid, I was younger, I wasn't really a kid, but I was already in F1, but you're coming to America. And it's like, it's a whole experience.
It was your first time in San Antonio?
It was my first time in San Antonio. And yeah, we were in Austin and I said, okay, I want to see NBA, I want to see a game. So I showed up to the game, to the arena. And then I was like, am I gonna text him or not? And it was like, your big night. And I say, for sure,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
to explain the fans, it was my jersey retirement.
Exactly.
So that's why I was like, you didn't tell
And
me.
I was like, he's got no time for me. That's his night. I'm not gonna disturb him with like a message or something. And it was just insane. It was like such an emotional night. It was beautiful. Yeah, I just remember you being there with your kid, and it's like, you know, I'm starting my career, and then I'm seeing you there, sort of like end of it.
The end of mine, the beginning of yours.
Exactly, and it was an amazing night. But I didn't want to disturb. It was like,
It's so funny because when I was starting to see your career, you know, and I was like, oh wow, a guy from Normandy. I was like, oh nice. So you know, we're very proud. I was like Normandy, stuff like that. And so then I wanted to try to meet you, you know.
Yeah.
And so I will always remember when you told me the story, you know, we're talking and I'm finally meeting you.
Yeah.
I'm excited. As like I always support, you know, French people making it internationally. And then when you told me that story, I was like, what? You were my jersey retirement. It felt so weird.
Because we got like a lot of common points from both, like from Normandy, and you went to this college, like
Jean-Baptiste de la Salle.
Yeah, where my dad went actually.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad went there, you went there. I didn't get the chance, but I had most of my friends in that college, and yeah, it was the hype. I know you went there, you know, once every year, a couple of times to see the students.
You know, my dad was super tough. He was like super tough because he wanted me to go to a school when you had the nuns. You know, you had the nuns. It was super disciplined. You know, Jean-Baptiste de la Salle, and it was like a private school.
Yeah.
And my dad worked very hard just to pay for that school for me to make sure that I have the discipline and the work ethic. You know. And so I always remember arriving at the school, I was like, man, it was like the nuns and it was like strict.
Yeah, from what my dad told me as well, it was like, I don't want to put a foot in there.
Exactly.
Like, he told me they were super strict, but yeah, well, discipline is key, but they were not.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story with that school. So it was a weekend. We had to win the game, and we had to win more than 20 points. You know. So you played the first game over there. We lost by 20. Okay. So if we wanted to qualify, we have to win more than 20. Nobody believed it, and I was like, no, we can make it. We can make it. So I did and I never do nothing with my hair.
Yeah, we talked
about it last night. The only time I did something crazy with my hair, it was for that game. So the Friday, we play on Sunday. On Friday, I went and I did just do it. Like my whole hair, like riding, I did just do it. And we go in the weekend, we beat the team by 28. So we qualify, you know, so I was so happy, yeah, blah, blah. The next day on Monday, as soon as I passed the door, they were like, hey, what you doing? You can't go to school like this. And so they asked me to shave it. And that was my only time that I did something crazy with my hair.
Well, if it worked, it worked.
I mean, it worked, you know, but I was like, okay, and the school was like, you know, super
You gotta
strict.
go with the bold move sometimes.
Exactly.
But,
so I want to go back to the beginning. So I know you like sports and you played soccer. How did it start, you know, with the karting? You know, it's not easy for a kid to say, oh, I want to do this, you know, it's our dream. You know, it's more easy to say, I want to play basketball, I want to play soccer. How do you start? Let's say the kids are watching, you know, how did you start?
It's, well, I'm lucky that I got a big family. And I mean, I feel so lucky and grateful for, like, I got four older brothers. And, you know, all of them kind of, I always say, like, showed me the way. And as they were quite turbulent, let's say, they also show me like all the mistakes not to do. That's what how I like to put it out there. But it's been amazing to have such like brother figures. I got 10 to 15 years difference with them in terms of mentality, in terms of attitude, and my family was really involved in motorsports. From my grandma was a go-kart champion. Quite unusual.
Your grandma?
My grandma.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
oh,
my
wow.
grandma. Like every time I say that, like we're going back to the 50s. She was racing go-kart, like and beating the guys and
I didn't realize that it was that much in the family.
So
even
it's running
Wow.
running in the DNA of the family. Like my granddad was massive into motorsport, always loved cars, speed. My dad raced in in cars as well. And then out of my 4 brothers, 3 raced in karting. So I kind of,
wow.
you know, evolved and grew up in that motorsport environment where every Sunday Formula One was like a family gathering. We put the first channel in France, and then we all like sitting in our sofa like watching the F1 race. And I did start actually with ice hockey when I was 3.5 years old.
From Normandy, Rouen.
Yeah,
Rouen.
because it's the main. Well, it's
It is the main thing in Rouen.
exactly.
The
Yeah,
hockey team.
we got an amazing ice hockey team. So I went inside the rink when I was 3.5 for 2 years. Then I switched to football with soccer in America, and I love soccer as well. So I started at 5 years old, and I was going to the racetracks from 2 years old. You know, already when I was in the stroller, like my mom was. You know, I was doing laps around the racetrack with the stroller, and I was smelling the rubber, the fuel. You know, like hearing these engine noises. And yeah, at some point I told my family, I'm like,
But when did you know, because I know you love soccer and you played soccer for a lot of years.
Yeah.
When did you know when you had to choose, you know?
Yeah.
And when did you know? Because to me, it's tough to say, I'm going to do that career because you need a lot of money. And
Exactly.
it depends on a lot of different stuff. It can be like dangerous, you know? It's a risky career.
It's a risky career. So I first tried when I was 6 years old. And as 3 of my brothers raced in go-karts, I was lucky that my family understood we gotta find sponsors. So basically at 6 years old, I told them my first go-kart test, if I close my eyes, I remember every single second of it. It's scary. It was
Like that
such,
vivid in your
exactly.
memory.
Like it was so intense. It was just 3 laps, which probably took me about 20 minutes at that age. But it was so intense in terms of feelings, speed, lines. I was probably going a bit in the grass, going back on, you know, like, you know, trying to understand the whole thing. But when I stopped, I told my parents, hey, this is what I want to do.
Yeah,
I was
you knew right away.
Exactly. I said, I love that so much. Please, I want to do this. And my parents didn't have the fundings at the time, so I had to wait 3 years.
Oh, wow.
3
that's
years,
long.
exactly. I was going back at them every week. Please, like, let me race. Please let me race. And they told me, we go back to education again, but they say, okay, if you're the first in class, then we'll think about what we can do for you and maybe get you a go-kart. But it was their way to buy time to get the funding.
To try to get the funds.
Exactly, to pay for my first go-kart. So it took about 3 years. And I first had my first go-kart at 9, started competition, was doing parallel football as well. And at 11, I understood, okay, I can't do both, at the best level. So I got to choose one, and I think I made the right choice. Yeah.
And so then, whose was, like, I guess then it was your dream, you know, to make it to F1. Who was the pilots that inspired you? Who did you watch, you know, because you talked about watching the race with your family. Who was, like, the biggest inspiration?
At that time when I started watching, Michael Schumacher was...
he was dominating too.
It was, yeah. Well, he's like the icon of our sport, let's say. It got beaten by Lewis Hamilton recently, but it's been, you know, like the sort of top of the league and GOAT of our sport for so many years. So he was the one winning everything. And then, you know, when I was 8 years old, 9, Alonso started to win with Renault, which is
with Renault,
it was with the French team. So this was quite inspiring, and it's quite funny. I was only 8, 9 years old, and I'm racing against him. Like, you know, these last seasons, even this season, I'm racing against him. So he's been there for.
It's like me playing against Michael Jordan. It's like the same feeling. Yeah.
But he's been there for years, and he's still like at his top level. So very impressive. And then Lewis came, so I will say from these years, I really like Michael, and I always liked Lewis as well a lot. But then from the past history, I really loved Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. So for me,
huge
that battle,
rivalry.
It was the most iconic rivalry you've ever had in our sport. And even though they were against each other, I just have so much like appreciation and respect for both drivers. Very different personalities, but I think both were just very, very inspiring.
So you had your whole career with Red Bull, and now you're with a French team. How do you feel? Are you like proud, to be running for a French team?
It's yeah, I must say I'm extremely proud because it's such a special story. Alpine, which is Renault as a team, is based only an hour away from my hometown. So they are based in Normandy as well.
I just found out last night.
Yeah,
Dieppe.
in
I was
Dieppe,
like,
yeah.
what? That's where my brother is born, Dieppe.
Yeah.
So my dad played basketball in
No
Dieppe.
way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why
So
I was
it's
like,
quite a
I had
small
no
town.
idea.
It's. I'm not too sure.
Why they over there?
People,
Why the
why
headquarters
they're
is over there?
but it's, since a very young age, I always knew like the factory was there. I knew the history of the brand, and then growing up and going up the ranks, I went through the Renault programs. So I was European champion, came second at the World Championship in their category. And I knew at that time there was a link, there was always, with French people, you always keep like a closer link. And even, working together, you always support each other. I always had like nice words from the management. Always saying, oh, okay, you're doing amazing, keeping an eye on you, like, make us proud, And
So when did you get the call? I don't know if you can talk about this, but like,
Yeah.
was it a hard decision between Red Bull and
Well,
Renault?
basically,
Or
Red
for
Bull-
you were like, oh, I want to do it.
So Red Bull came in my career after that Renault Championship I won, and it was my contract. Like that's the moment where I sort of became professional, and I understood. Okay, now it's up to me to do the job to get to Formula One because I'm backed up by the F1 team. If I do the job, they'll give me the opportunity because they are the best program in our sport to give the chance to young people. And yeah, I did 10 years with them, and last summer.
That's a long time, 10 years. That's what I was asking. Was it hard to
Yeah.
leave? Because it felt like they got you. You were like a baby.
Exactly.
You grew up with them, became
Yeah.
a man with them. So.
I did like most of my career in single seater in motorsport with them, and we came to a point where I was entering my last season with them, so I signed for 2023 with AlphaTauri, and it was a bit like a love and hate story after the experience that I had with the main team, Red Bull Racing. Even if I'll always be super grateful for everything they've done to me, it was out of these 10 years together, 9.5 were amazing and incredible, and I got these 6 months which were very, very tough with the main team. And then after that, there was always like a sort of like bittersweet feeling because I didn't feel I was supported, and I didn't feel like I was getting credits for the performance I was putting. After that, I won a race, my first Grand Prix in Monza with the AlphaTauri.
So you felt like they didn't appreciate you?
Exactly. It was like I knew with the result I was putting, I deserved a chance to go back because we were only 2 drivers to win for AlphaTauri. Sebastian Vettel, who got promoted straight after to Red Bull and won 4 World Championship. And I won a race, and they were telling me, well, we still can't take you now. Like we're going.
The way I look at it is like sometimes when you take somebody very young, and he's with you like for a long time, you don't appreciate it, because he's like with you and you think he's never gonna leave, and you can treat him like this.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's just in life. Sometimes it's just time to go another direction, We have the expression in France, faut voler de ses propres ailes.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like that kind of.
Like they would not give me the opportunity to really go to the next step and go back in the main team because after like I got my first podium like 3 months after they dropped me from Red Bull.
But I think that's something that frustrates me the most in your sport is you can be the best, but if you don't have like the best car. You know what I mean? It's like almost like, man, it's like you all depend on kind of like the best car.
Yeah.
Like me, sometimes I wish like when I look at F1, I wish like everybody had the same car and then we'll see who's the best pilot.
I wish
because
too,
in basketball, if you're the best, you're the best. You can do nothing. If soccer, American football, you're the best, you're the best.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes, because I know you well and a couple friends in your world, I always feel like like you talk about the car and it's frustrating and blah blah. Do you wish sometimes like it was just the same car for everybody?
So what's tough and you put the finger on it is like, you know, you get up to Formula One and all your category, you all race against other drivers with the same equipment.
Same car.
So you got the same car, different teams. There are different like setups and settings you can do, but it's like it's just the same car, same engine. You get to F1, and then basically you got only one guy with the same car, and then it's 10 different teams. It makes the beauty of the sport because you look at it, and sometimes we're always in 0.5 of a second with completely different cars. Like they're just made and built very differently. But on the other side, when there is a domination and a car, like some cars are definitely faster than others, you know, the ranking is usually, you know, like the 2 drivers from the same team, 2 other drivers from the same team. And so you got to work all your way, basically, for your career to end up in the right place at the right time with the right people. And, you know, at the same time, that's why you say.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes it's a lot of politics, though. You know, you can be the best, like you know, you were like the best, you were getting the results, you were getting your targets and everything, and you still didn't get the opportunity.
There is a lot of politics, and stuff to accept, but you know, I think I had to work my way to F1 like in a pretty difficult
you earn everything you got,
when I was in Formula 2, which is like the sort of like second division. It's like you got to win to make it to Formula 1. I won the championship and still didn't make to Formula 1 straight away. I'm like, how does that work? Like, where is the reward? But it's a question of timing, and you got 20 seats in the whole, you know, in the whole sport, like 20 seats in the whole world, and it's just not enough seats for all the drivers. You know, there is also very young, strong men coming now, but it's full. Like you gotta wait for your time, and there is.
Do you feel it every day? You know that competition. You know, because in basketball you have 400 players, 60 new one coming. You know, so we say, man, that's tough. You know, you get 60 new ones coming. F1, you have 20 seats, and I'm sure a ton of young people that is like you and wants to get it. Do you feel that pressure every day?
It's something you gotta deal with. I think you need to embrace it in a way that it's putting a nice pressure because you gotta stay on top of your game every single day. There is not one single race where you can just. You cannot have a off day. In a F1 car, you cannot rely on any others like to do the job for yourself. I spoke with some friends of mine in football, for example, and they say, you know, you got 10 teammates. If you got a day off, you didn't sleep so well, pass the ball to your teammate, and then they'll compensate for your day where you're slightly under. Once you're in the car, if you're not on your A game, well, you're not performing, and then it's really obvious. But
we talked about it this morning because, like at breakfast, I was asking you, you know, like your diet and stuff like that. Because I'm like, we talk about like seconds, centième, everything counts. Do you feel like on an everyday basis, it's part of your job to be careful, like what you eat? Because we talked about you have to go to the restroom before the race. I used to go to the restroom before every game too, because I wanted to like be lighter, you know, like make sure. Is it a constant, like intense pressure on that?
Yeah, it's a fine line between becoming like too obsessed with it, which then gets in your head
and fucks up with your head.
Exactly, and then just finding that fine balance in trying to maximize yourself. Because as an athlete, there is many different parameters which you can, you know, work on. It's not only the biggest, let's say, is the driving. But then once you're driving, you know, we got 1,200 people behind us, and F1 is much more a team sport than what we could think from the outside. All these people, if they don't give 110% of themselves, the day I come to the racetrack on Sunday for my race, my car is not maximized, and I won't even get a chance to compete. So you need to be a team leader. You need to motivate every single people in the team. You need to look after your nutrition. You need to look after your recovery. You need to look after your jet lag plans, because we're going from America to Asia to.
No, I agree with you. I saw it when I came to see you, you know, race, And when you see all those people with the computers,
Yeah.
and then all the people that is just helping you, you know,
Yeah.
with it can be the tires or anything, all the technical stuff. And I was like, man, that's a real like teamwork. Like you said, you
Yeah.
have to be a team leader. You need to know your team. Everybody's important. Everybody's got a role. And I agree with you to explain to people is like it's a team sport. You know, it's not an individual.
It's definitely, and even as a kid, I didn't look that. I mean, I was watching the race, and I was like, "Whoa, Michael Schumacher is such a cool guy. Is like on top of the podium and like beating everyone." And you don't actually see from the TV all the work that goes into it from all these like 1,000 people, from production, development, the strategy, the race team at the track, the mechanics, the logistics, you're moving 100 people from country to country, and it's something which I really started to get into after 2 or 3 years, where I came to F1 thinking only how do I get the best of myself. But then I figured out if I just get the best only of myself is not enough, to put the performance on the track. So now I'm like, how do I get the best of myself, but I get the best out of the guys who are like all around me, who gives me the chance to compete. And then you need to figure out people have different personalities. So how am I going to communicate with them? How am I
managing the egos and everything?
Exactly. And when you get in the sport at 20, 21, it's kind of difficult to figure this out initially. But then I was also lucky. I had very good team around me, like trustful people that always supported me and tried to also guide me in the best way. But that's why I love to discuss with you and
athletes,
very successful athletes in also other sports to understand all the mental.
But I can see that on you, like you're very curious and you always ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's a reason why people are successful and why they made it. And so me, I was a little bit like you. I always like ask questions when I can meet athletes and stuff like that, because everybody got their thing in their own world, but then you can relate, and try to see what's going to work for you and what's going to fit, for you, to use that as an experience, especially when you're young.
Yeah, when you're young. And I believe that there is always something to learn from anyone.
Oh, I agree.
Whether it's better or whether it's worse, like.
Oh, your brothers, it was worse, but at least you know.
But you see, I got that from them. Like they're doing mischief every single day. So it's like, okay, I gotta avoid. Okay, they got caught like this. Okay, I'm not gonna do the same mistake. I'm gonna do the same thing, not getting caught.
That's why you can always learn, good or bad.
But it's I always think you got something to learn from every single person, from their own experience, from their background. That's why it's important to discuss and have conversations and be interested. But I'm interested to know from your side, how did you see my sport growing in the States? Because
that's a good question. But I grew up same as you, same generation. So I was like big fan of Schumacher.
Yeah.
I was a big fan. He was winning everything, and I love the rivalry with Prost and Senna.
Yeah.
But Schumacher, for me, he was like the standard.
Yeah.
Of longevity, consistent. He was like so precise, in details and stuff like that. And that's what I love, because when we play with the Spurs and you have a coach like Popovich, it's all about that,
Yeah.
So I related, to that. And I was sad, when I saw the accident and everything, because I felt like he could have give so much more, to the sport, to the new generation and stuff like that. But to me, the way I see F1 is, if you love cars, you're going to be a fan. But what I like now with your sport and the way that it exploded is when the TV show came out, and you can see that it is a team sport. It's so many stuff that has to go in the right way for you to perform and to have a result, on the track. And so the TV show was really helpful, to me, and I'm sure for a ton of fans, especially the women's side too, the women fans, your sport exploded. They made it like cool and stylish like the
Yeah.
NBA. The
Yeah.
NBA, we talked about it last night. You know, the NBA, they really have that thing, you know, with the league where everybody like wants to go to the NBA. I feel like the F1 now has that. You
The
know,
hype
and, yeah,
around it.
the hype, and it's going like crazy. You know, when you see now the new race, and now you're gonna have Vegas.
Vegas.
First of all, what you think about that? Like as a driver, do you think at some point it's gonna be too many race? You know what I mean? It's a long season. You're never home. You travel all the time. It looks like kind of like tennis players. You know, they're never
Yeah.
home and stuff like that. Where do you think it should be like a happy middle, or do you like new races? And I'm sure you're not gonna say no to Vegas, but do you like all that kind of stuff?
We are in a privileged position, but when you look at the mechanics, you look at the engineers, these guys, they're coming 2-3 days before to get on track before us. So you're looking at 7-8 days at the same location. And these guys, they got no more like family life, no more private life. So I think we're getting to a point where even divorce rates inside the paddock
It's
is
going
something.
high on-
Exactly,
on
it's
F1.
going high because people can't spend time home. Now we're like triple-header, so we're spending 3.5 weeks in the States, going back 5 days home, and then going away for another 2 weeks, Vegas, Abu Dhabi, testing. So actually it's gonna be 3 weeks. So, you know, in the space of, in the time of like 6-7 weeks, you get 4 days, 5 days home when you got kids and, you know,
Yeah, it's not
wife and
easy.
family. It's not easy. So it's a big sacrifice from everyone working in this world. So I'm such a petrol head. I'm such a fan, and I love what I'm doing so much that every race I'm going super excited. But then you got to find the right balance in, you know, entertainment and show and keeping it quite exclusive. That every race important. You know, you don't want people to be like, if I miss this weekend, I'll anyway watch
like
next
lose
weekend.
interest or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
You got to keep that, you know, that quite exclusive. So I think we're trying. You know, one year we have 22, 20, 24.
Because it's 24 now, 24?
22 because we got 2 races cancelled.
Okay.
Next year we're going to this year is pretty intense, getting to the end of it. So with the 5 races in 6 weeks, for example.
So what's a perfect season for you? Do you think it should stay at 22 or?
It's a big statement to make now.
Okay. Oh, it is a big thing. I didn't know.
It's always like an ongoing conversation. I think. Yeah, I think.
So right now it's
clearly,
hard to know what's a good balance, and everybody's trying to figure it out.
I think we're getting to a point where, you know,
Because
people
I'm sure it's
stopping.
a lot of money. It's a lot of money involved too. Because we
It's more
talked
money.
about.
Yeah, it's more money, but at some point it's not all about the money. You know,
Yeah.
you got to care about your people, and also, you know, I've seen people over the last 2-3 years, very smart people, but just stopping because it's too much sacrifices for their own life. So you want to keep that very smart people and make the whole organization healthy. So it's working well. It's always like fine details. But I think over the next 2-3 years, hopefully we can find the sweet spot. Yeah.
I hope it's not all about the money, because I saw the rumors about Monaco, and I hope we don't lose Monaco. I like that
It's
race.
still-
Because for me, when you talk about F1, and if you talk about the top 3 race, like everybody talks about Monaco. Like Monaco is like a unique, special atmosphere. So I hope they don't change that one.
You can't replace Monaco.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like,
it is the it's so much
historic.
history. Yeah, it's historical. It's iconic, and even if half of the people are going there not for the race, it's okay.
Exactly.
Most of them are going there for you know, like the whole hype, the energy, people having a great time. But it's same thing. I first race I've been to was in Monaco.
It was Monaco.
Yeah, and you know, I was standing in that corner where you could be right behind the rail, and I was hearing the V10 engine, and I went absolutely mad. Like, wow.
What's your favorite memory? I know your career is still young, you know, but what's your favorite memory of your career? You know, like your favorite win or favorite race?
I'll say, my first win in Monza in 2020
Monza.
was it was incredible because no one really expected it. I wasn't in a car that will fight for win.
It came out of nowhere.
Exactly, it came out of nowhere, and up to that point, AlphaTauri had won like 1 race in 14 years, And
I didn't realize that 1 in 14 years.
yeah,
Wow.
And then it was also their first win was in Monza, and on that race I started in 10th position. We boxed early. There was an incident. I ended up in 3rd position at the start. Managed to pass 2nd. Hamilton got a penalty. I was leading with 24 laps to go, and you know when you feel this is your day, and you're not gonna let it slip away. Yeah. I was like, this is my moment, and there is no way it's going away from me. And I actually, it was the first time in Formula One that I ended up leading the race, being in that position that I've been so many times in Formula 2, Formula 3, in younger series. And I just found myself back. Like, this is the best spot. I got no one in front of me. I'm just gonna put like qualifying laps after qualifying laps, just focus one corner at a time. And yeah, the focus and the zone you get into, you don't need to worry about anything. I was like, guys behind, like I'm just gonna give
like
you absolutely everything. And then yeah, it worked out. But the emotions of getting your first win in Formula One, you know, you start, as I crossed the line, I exploded. I had so much emotion, started shouting, and
the images on the show, on the Netflix show, was so cool. To see you happy like that, it was so cool, like priceless.
Yeah, it was a dream. It was a dream come true. And at that moment, you just look back and think back all these efforts, like my family, everything they've done for me, like the sacrifices from everyone, all the going up, all the people that supported me in karting, even people that at the time gave me, you know, I had people giving me like 500 euros for my karting series. They're like, I will give you, you can buy like 2 new sets of tires. And like these people made it possible because I bought these sets, I managed to perform better. Like I got the result which I got detected after that. So you start thinking, all these people, nah, that's for them, you know. It's like a way of giving them back. So it was very, very special. And I got a call from, it was funny because I never expected it, but I got a call from our president.
Finally.
Yeah, Mr. Macron. And it was, I never expected in my whole life that the president would call
watch F1.
And I didn't even answer. I was so bad. I was in my debrief.
You didn't believe it was him?
No, I had an unknown number calling.
Okay,
and I was with my headset doing the debrief after the race to the engineer. So this takes about 30 minutes, and I had my phone like ringing, like notification, but I had that one call. People that I knew were calling me, but it was like unknown. And I got out of the engineering office, and I saw that number left me a voice message. And I start hearing, and it's like, hi, I'm your president, Emmanuel Macron. I just want to congratulate you from the whole country.
That's cool.
Like, wow, what is going on? I had space of 2-3 hours, I lost control of my life. I just
that's pretty cool.
It was very, very special.
So now I'm going to stay on the French thing, you know, you with Alpine, so you can imagine how people are proud, you know, as French people. What race you want to win, you know, that can maybe create that same emotion that you had from Monza, that will make you like proud, say, hey, we won that race together?
The ultimate Grand Prix that I love to win, obviously, will be the French Grand Prix as a French driver racing for a French team. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have the French Grand Prix in the calendar, so I'm doing all the lobbying I can
to try to get it back.
Yeah, trying to get it back for 25. That will be amazing. And then that was the best support I've ever got in my whole career. Like the last French Grand Prix in 22, just seeing all this energy, these flags, French flags.
I remember with the flags there,
people screaming, and it was giving goosebumps. Like, gives you so much energy, something very unique. So I hope I can experience that one more time, and winning that race will be incredible. But after, if you tell me anywhere, honestly, for me, I'm really working and giving everything I can. I believe in that project with Alpine. The infrastructure are massive. The team is massive. We got very smart people. So it's all about building up that team. There've been a lot of changes this season. but it's all about building up that team and getting to the top. And it's not easy in our sport. It can be short time and sometimes slightly longer.
Because right now you have to try to be patient, you know,
Gotta be
because it
patient.
takes time to build something nice.
Patience is not something we like as athletes, but
I know.
it's something which, yeah, you know.
But everything is not in your hand right now, you know, because you have to build the team.
Exactly. So I see it as a big puzzle, and you know, every race, every week, every month, we're adding one piece to the puzzle, and yeah, things are coming together.
Let's talk about the basketball a little bit because we went to the game together. First question, obviously, what you think about Victor?
I knew you got to ask.
Of course, we were at the game too.
It's impressive. Not gonna lie. It's I mean, there is such a hype, and I met Victor only once before last night, so I don't know him that well, you know. Like we just met up and had a quick chat, and last night we talked a bit more. But somehow I'm feeling as a French like a very a sense of a lot of pride from what he is achieving and coming from such a young age, leaving our country, coming in, you know, this massive country, this, you know, best league in the world, NBA, and going and grabbing his chance with you know, both hands, and seeing the way that he's been coping with it, because we should not forget the age. He's young, and you've been there. You know how tough it is. I've been there as well in my sport, and the level of maturity that he's been showing so far is really impressive. So, no, it's been. Yeah, I've been waking up at 3 a.m. to watch his first game. Even it was preseason. I was like, I want to see how he's gonna do like that first game. And I lost half an hour, like the first half, and then I was so tired I had to pass out in the middle of the night. And yeah, with the training and the season, I just can't keep waking up at 3 a.m. every single game. But
you gotta focus on your season too.
Exactly. But I'm gonna be following with very close eye, and it's just insane. Like, again, seeing him yesterday is
how tall he is,
and you know, the way he's moving.
The way that he moves,
is very impressive, and I think we're gonna see big things. But there is already too many people putting such high expectations.
Now the expectation
I won't be the one adding any more. I think, you know, just enjoy.
Who in F1 had like expectation like that before even racing one race?
I don't think it ever happened.
I
don't think it ever happened.
Because I was thinking about, before I prepared the interview with you, I was thinking who has the most hype before, you know, arriving in F1.
It was Max.
I couldn't find anybody.
I think it wasn't put straight away because people knew he's going in a team which has no chance to win anything. So I think it was, you know, putting down a bit the expectation, but still the biggest hype was around Max.
It was Max, yeah.
Turned out he's 3-time world champion now. So,
it turned out
he was good, but it's yeah.
Well, I hope Victor does the same thing.
And
bring
that's
us
all we wish him.
Where the love of the NBA came, like because you didn't play basketball when you were a kid. So when you were.
Man.
I know. Okay.
Nah,
so that was the first time you watched NBA?
Yeah, I mean,
it was during my time.
So because exactly. So I heard so much about you in my city, and
because of Normandy.
Exactly.
And stuff like that.
So in Rouen, it was, I mean, in Rouen and all over France, you were like the big thing, and obviously, even it's a different sport. I'm the worst basketball player you will ever see. So, you know, I as soon as I touch a basketball and I saw what I was doing, I say, okay, this is clearly not the route I need to go into. So I was never really close to the sport because I didn't practice. It just started quite late. No, I love it. Like, I'm bad, but I'm like, okay, I got to get better. Like,
but you like to play, though. You like to play.
Because I like the challenge. And but then, no, it was really you, like from, you know, the icon and the sport figure, and yeah, just your state is all over the country, and the sort of hype and the feeling of you know, pride again, like how proud you made all the French people.
That's what
so
I tried
already
to do,
from
that's for sure.
already from a very young age, you know, it was like Zidane in football, was like you in basketball. And then, in F1, we were missing that,
But it's you now.
that figure. Exactly.
You're the one now.
I mentioned what made the win very special in Monza. There wasn't a French driver who won a Grand Prix for 24 years.
Yeah, it was forever.
Imagine 24 years.
That's a long time, yeah.
So the country was waiting for that win for a long time. And I remember the first foot I put in the paddock as a F1 driver, the first question I received was from a French journalist straight away. My first day at job. Will you be the next French Grand Prix winner, F1 winner?
Right.
Like, you're not giving me any break. We are like straight into it.
Straight to the point. Yeah.
And so that's some sort of pressure that you carry on your shoulders, and people have big expectations. And they're really supportive, but that's how it works in sport. People just want.
But that sense of
best.
pride that you talk about between French athletes, you know, internationally, that's how I felt. Like when you won, I felt like very proud.
Yeah.
I sent you a long message and blah blah. I was like really proud because that's how we support each other. And that's why I thought it was pretty cool when I saw Zidane accepting, being an ambassador for Alpine. I was like, man, I never saw Zizou going to a F1 race. Like I never saw him on the track. So did he ever been to a track, or did he ever been to a race? I don't even know. And were you happy when you saw Zidane? Because I know you love soccer.
Yeah, I was.
Did you met him since he was an ambassador?
I met him at the presentation of the car. We did it in England, and I was amazed. I was like mind-blowing experience that he just came and we had a chat for 3 hours. Almost wanted to tell him, please go home. Like, it's too much. You're such a hero for. You're giving me too.
Our generation.
Yeah, it's like you're giving me too much of your time. Like, and I was really, it was incredible from chatting with him and from his experience as an athlete and also as a manager, and all I was asking question. It was just an amazing moment. But then after that we didn't see him yet at the track. I know we got an appearance planned at the end of the year, where we're gonna be seeing him in Spain. But at the racetrack, no, we haven't seen him yet. But it's using that success from our country in the best way we can, and I think as a French, that's also something we need to push. And personally, I feel I have a duty for also pushing the French success, because we don't appreciate what we do enough in our country. It's like we like to say we.
Pierre, you imagine right now, in sports, we have you and F1, who's doing very, very well. You have Mbappé, who might be the best soccer player.
Yeah.
You have Wemby, we never saw that in basketball in the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
You have Marchand in swimming, who just beat Michael Phelps' record. Like, we're in great place, for our country.
In sport, the conversation last week, I said, I don't know what we're doing in terms of, scouting these athletes and these talents, but we got to recognize that we're very good in sport, but nonetheless, still the country is not always the most supportive. We like to say this is not good enough, and this guy is bad, this could do better, etc. And we struggle to recognize the success. So I appreciate the success of other people. That's why as soon as I see, talent, and not only in sport but in general, when someone is really into his own goal and pushing for his career and trying to build on something, I'm always very supportive and trying to, lift them up and because I guess it was the same thing for your career, but I came across a lot of people that tried to kill my dream straight away when I was a kid. It's like, hey, you're never gonna make it. It's 20 guys in the world. How can you think you coming from small Bois-Guillaume city, you're gonna make it to the top? It's like, I don't know, man, but I'll just give everything I can and I'll give my best chances.
Exactly.
If you're 10, 12, 15, why would you stop someone's dream like that or like try to cut him short, or if anything, just give him a push, and then it might have a much bigger impact than you think. So
I love what you say, because you're the perfect definition of what I tell people all the time when I tell my kids, and they're 9 and 7, my 2 kids, or my kids from the academy. I always tell them, dream big, you know. And if you tell your dream to somebody and he's not laughing at you, you don't dream big enough. I always tell them that. So you're the perfect definition, because you was telling people, and normally I'm going to be an F1 driver, and they were laughing. And I'm like, what?
But then
there's only 20 drivers, and look what you did. So that's why I always tell people, like, don't be scared, you know, to tell your dreams. It's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. People fail like all the time. But then you come back, you know, use that as experience, and you come back. The worst thing you can do for me is not try. Not try because you're scared.
You know, it was tough to find, like, seeking kind of support, and my family were my best supporters from the start. But then outside, you face a lot of people that don't believe in you, and they don't even give you a chance. And then I started to, when any people will tell me, you're not gonna make it, like, what are you wasting your time for? Like, you telling me I'm not gonna make it. You know what? I'm gonna do even more than I'm doing right now, just so I can come back in 15 years and face you and tell me, why did you cut me short? Why didn't you help me, support me, or push me? You know? And then I managed to turn that negativity into something very powerful inside me that I've built. And I'm like, no, every day, everyone has some days off where I feel I have pain here, like I gotta go to training, I have bruised, or I'm tight, etc. Like, these people, thanks God they didn't believe in me, because they gave me so much power.
Thanks for the motivation.
I got so much more out of me. But right now, I do feel we need to embrace, like, you know, young generation and give people the support and push them into following their dreams. And it's true, many won't get there, but you know, in the worst case, the experience and the outcome will be so positive, and what it brings you is probably the best, life lesson you can get when you're into a sport and going fully into it.
To finish, I'm going to finish in French, pour terminer, pour tous ceux qui nous regardent en France et la jeune génération, si tu devais donner un conseil, tu vois, à les jeunes qui regardent, qui veulent devenir comme toi, le prochain Français en Formule 1, tu dirais quoi?
Il y a beaucoup de choses à dire. Un seul.
Réponds comme tu veux.
Je pense que c'est ce qu'on s'est dit. Toujours croire en ses rêves, se donner les moyens d'y arriver. Et je sais qu'il y a quelque chose qui... je me suis toujours répété depuis mon plus jeune âge. Je me disais toujours, quand on veut, on peut. Et il faut d'abord le vouloir avant d'y arriver. Et quelque chose d'autre qui a été aussi très important, on va dire, pour moi jusqu'à aujourd'hui, et que j'utilise tous les jours. À chaque fois que j'ai quelque chose de difficile, ou quand je te dis j'ai une journée où c'est un petit peu plus compliqué, je me dis, tu vois là, ça, si tu le fais pas, il y aura quelqu'un d'autre dans le monde qui va le faire. Et là, il y a plus, il y a plus de discussion. Et c'est un peu cette mentalité qu'il faut avoir dans tout ce qu'on fait, que ce soit dans le sport ou ailleurs, se dire qu'il y aura toujours quelqu'un d'autre qui va faire plus que toi. Et c'est pour ça qu'il faut jamais rien lâcher.
Ah non, je suis d'accord. Et justement, t'as des peurs, toi, justement, tu sais, quand tu es dans ta carrière, moi je sais que j'avais toujours cette peur de ne pas être, tu sais, au niveau, ou que mon père il soit pas, tu sais, fier de moi. Comment t'as face en fait tes peurs, quoi?
Tu dois apprendre à vivre avec. Hein.
Ça c'est sûr. Ça c'est sûr.
Je pense que tout le monde a des moments comme ça où on peut pas savoir ce que le futur nous réserve. Et c'est pour ça que j'essaie de me concentrer vachement sur le présent. Faire du mieux possible.
Contrôler ce que tu peux contrôler.
Exactement. Parce que c'est vrai, quand on pense au futur, il y a beaucoup d'incertitudes. Est-ce que ma voiture va marcher? Est-ce que je vais être en mesure de pouvoir me bagarrer pour des victoires? Est-ce que je vais pouvoir être en mesure de me bagarrer pour un titre? Est-ce que je suis au bon endroit? C'est toute une question de timing, mais il y a des choses sur lesquelles tu peux réfléchir et impacter, parce qu'il y a aussi les saisons prochaines, etc., hein, des choix de carrière, et exactement ce qui s'est passé l'été dernier, où je me suis assis, je me suis dit, OK, je suis chez Red Bull, j'ai ça de garantie, se lance sur un nouveau projet. Cette décision, elle n'a pas été très difficile à prendre, parce que pour moi, ça a été tout de suite très clair sur le fait que ce projet, c'était vraiment quelque chose qui me tenait à cœur avec Alpine, et ça s'est fait rapidement. Mais il y a beaucoup d'incertitudes dans une carrière, et je pense que la meilleure réponse à ça, c'est concentre-toi sur les choses que tu peux contrôler aujourd'hui, et l'avenir fera le reste, entre guillemets. Et je pense que le travail que je fais aujourd'hui paiera demain.
Bon, en tout cas, je suis d'accord avec tout ce que tu as dit. De toute façon, je te souhaite tout le meilleur. Grand fan de ta carrière. Franchement, je trouve que tu inspires beaucoup de gens, toute une génération qui vont te regarder. Et je pense qu'on pourra être fiers dans les années à venir. Mais en tout cas, pour l'instant, tu as encore des choses à faire, tu as encore des émotions à nous faire vivre. Et j'espère vraiment que tu vas gagner des courses avec Alpine. En tout cas, en tant que Français, je serai un des premiers. Je sais que je ne suis pas Macron, mais je t'enverrai un texto direct, tu vois. Bah, merci pour aujourd'hui.
Merci à toi.
Pierre.
Merci beaucoup.
Bon, c'est la fin. Je veux vraiment remercier Pierre. C'était vraiment sympa ce deuxième épisode à San Antonio. Donc je vous retrouve la semaine prochaine, vendredi, 18h, SKWEEK Show by Tony Parker. Ça sera la dernière à San Antonio.